Welcome back. Outlaws now facing the Fusion for the last semi-final spot here. Hex, an unlikely run for the Outlaws, but been looking pretty hot so far. We'll see how they fare up against the Fusion, who had a little bit of a disappointing game against the Shock the other week.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing would be a bit of an understatement, but Houston has looked really good. They just beat a top team that a lot of people think is a top team in the Florida Mayhem. Though Florida, I don't think, brought their best game, maybe looking past Houston, but that'd be a mistake when you've got carry damage dealers like Dante. And then Linkser, a confident Linkser is a dangerous Linkser. You can leave him in the game and allow him to warm up. He was hitting some nutty shots. He's always happy in chat, so happy, confident Linkser is like the most dangerous Linkser possible. And in this meta, I keep saying it, but this Houston team, like, they feel like this is their meta, and they have proved it. And now a Philadelphia team coming off a really reeling loss, gonna have to step back up. You kind of just want to put that San Francisco one behind you. But along with some of the damage dealers, man, I think the Houston tanks have been playing really well, Jaws.
Yeah, the match they faced when they faced the Mayhem, Neko was just putting out some absurd stats. Normally, you see in the kill feed, it's Linkser and Dante, but sometimes the tanks can go a little bit more unnoticed. And look at the stats versus Gargoyle, definitely one of the best Sigmas in the league. The damage up over Gargoyle, final blows up over Gargoyle, only just lagging behind on Accretions, but Accretion hits, and then but the kills are up. The Flux kills, look at that, 18 versus the 5, like, Mecca is on another plane of existence, I think, playing against the Mayhem, who, like you rightfully said, Hex, was one of the teams that people touted as maybe top 3, but now the Outlaws are coming almost out of nowhere and proving they're not to be messed with either. Linkser and Dante are going to be in the DPS role for today. Hydration staying in on the tank role too with the Mecca, and then Repel and Jexer. It was going to be these guys, of course it was. This is the team that beat the Mayhem. Why not field them again?
Yeah, and it's really smart for Houston to just start being a little more consistent. I think that even over the last several seasons, a little less this season, but still some meddling in the starting 6 of the lineup. You'd bring a guy in for a map, then take him out, and some of these players just need to be consistently with the same players to start building up some of these synergies, and I think the tank line is a really good, important thing about that. Now, Philadelphia, on the other hand, versus the San Francisco Shock that we just saw dominate, I mean, they didn't have the greatest team fight win rate stats. I mean, the thing that really stands out for me that's tough for Philadelphia in these numbers is that their first elimination team fight is at 30%. When you get a first kill and you can only win 30% of those fights, that's demoralizing. And look, it didn't even happen very often against San Francisco that they were getting the first kill, because they were just getting picked off by Ants. So if you're Philadelphia, I think the best thing to do is just forget about that and move on, hopefully, because it was a stomping. It was an embarrassing loss to San Francisco Shock, mostly because people think Philadelphia is right at that same tier.
Yeah, they have to kind of erase that from their memory and then reset and go again. Of course, they definitely want to meet the San Francisco Shock for that rematch and hopefully taking the W from there. Let's throw to Boombox, though. Let's see what he had to say about today's game.
Losing 3-0 to any team is a tough loss, but we're still motivated to improve our mistakes and decision making in game. So we're focusing on every team one by one, and hopefully we will get a rematch against Shock in the finals.
Alright, okay. Well put, Boombox, I think. I love Boombox, man. Every time he gets up for an interview, it's always a treat. I think having Boombox in and being traded in and out for Funny Astro has been kind of a bit of a question on my mind, to be honest with you, and why he's been in and out. I mean, you're always, more often than not, always going to field Alarm, and he's been playing the Brig more often than not, but we've seen Boombox come in and play the Batiste every now and then, but today, we're actually seeing Astro and Alarm, kind of the old favorite of Philadelphia Fusion support line.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course the DPS is going to be Carpe, but a new face on the line. Well, not new, but not played a ton this year. EQO is coming in, and this is perhaps to fill like what I thought was maybe some of the gaps in there. EQO probably coming in to play some Genji. Now, Philadelphia's been really good on double hit scan or a Tracer and a long-range hit scan with Hisu, largely because Carpe is just playing at a god level, and we can't really overstate it. He is on track to break the KDR, or final blows rather, to deaths ratio for this season anyway. way. He's up there at, I think, on track for 2.4. In 2018, the record was set by, say, Byobi and a few others, I think, at 2.0. So a lot of people on track to beat the record, but Carpe on track to blow it out of the water. You can't really overstate what a great year he is having, despite, you know, some of the rough setbacks that Philadelphia has had. You can always rely on Carpe to come through.
And that's the most insane thing. You could have always relied on Carpe. There's not really too many moments in history that he's ever let the Philadelphia Fusion down. I mean, he's just the most consistent part of the squad. We always say we can't clone him, but hey, EQO on the Genji, that's something that I want to see. How are we going to try? Okay, well, let's get into the map, Hex. I don't want to get into like cloning and how that works.
Yeah, science and ethics don't always see face to face, you know, just in the name of science. I'd probably like to see Mitch, a team of 6 Carpes. Yeah, Mitch is, despite all appearances, a rather intelligent man. Anyway, we're going to kick it off on Lijiang Tower, EQO. Back in the lineup. I think he played a little bit earlier this year. I think he played on Echo, which was always fun to say EQO on Echo. But I believe he would probably be coming in to play either a specialist role in a Mei or try to do that Genji role.
Well, Mei for Lijiang Tower is going to be the call. Not too surprised. We see a whole bunch. Carpe definitely not sticking on the Sim.
No,
there's no way, it's just TPing
Well, no,
out.
I mean, we called that before, and we did see a little bit of Sim on this stage in particular yesterday, so it might be a double Sim strat, or one of these squads could switch to Reaper. That's my guess here early on.
But I'm guessing the Carpe Reaper, but we'll have to wait and see. Get the nice little overhead. And Torb for Carpe, okay!
It's when he set the record for final blows. He set it on Torb.
The charge is a whole bunch of work. Does that count for final blows if you get the Torb turret? I don't know. Fury's dead. He just gets melted. This is a problem with running at this comp. If Linkser is fully charged, you die. Shield are dead, and with the beam not needing to reload, it's just a permanent. And even just gains energy back. It's not even like it doesn't need to reload. But Alarm is just going to kind of out-strafe him and instantly take him out. Okay, Lynx are a little bit too aggressive there on the bridge. I started off with a Fire Strike actually killing off Hydration, which already netted them the victory there. Able to push forward past the shields. Fury ends up switching to Ball to try and get back to point in time, but back to Orisa.
You can't overstate how important these first fights are on Control. I think the win rate is over 60% of the team that wins the first fight wins that round of the Control map. So Linkser is going to give this another go, being at 81%. That's how much damage he did. Maybe they teleport as an entrance so that they don't end up getting walled off, but then you're telegraphing what you're doing.
Well, both windows have come out already. They have to play a little bit passive. Sado, oh, well, okay, that would have been fancy, and that would have been pretty cool if that hit, but he goes for the 180 shatter, doesn't quite pull it off. And Alarm and Sado will end up going down. The wall also comes through, and Carpe's turret claims a kill. As well, Dante getting frozen up. EQO might be able to level this one out, but Dante manages to unfreeze himself. Even the beat from Astro to keep this point alive for a little bit longer, but he's going to get tracked down by Repel. And they want that. They want to stall it for as long as possible. Astro must switch here. Well, probably not actually. He is on Lucio, but that beat was a little bit questionable, to be honest with you.
I think they really just were going for percentages, and then once EQO threw in the Blizzard, Astro thought maybe we can bring this back. So the Philadelphia is playing with some confidence, I guess, there. But yeah, you would love to have both of those ultimates back, because Houston Outlaws, well, they have Blizzard and they have Beat, so they have the advantage in this next fight. But Molten Core could throw a wrench in things.
Yeah, they can't really combine it with the Shatter at all. Carpe takes a Fire Strike straight to the face. There's the wall. Small gap, though. Oh, perfect counter wall by EQO. Making sure Hydration cannot pin Sado against the backboard. There's the Blizzard, because does Carpe cancel it too? He does! He cancels the Blizzard and uses the Molten Core on the point. The beat's going to come out for the Outlaws to try and make sure they can survive the oncoming damage, but there's so little space now on this point. They're going to have to run into it. Even Carpe on the flank now popping the E to make sure he can stay alive and get some additional damage down in the back line. Hydration goes for the pin kill, but it's blocked out by the ice block from EQO. The shatter hits the ground and Linkser is back. He's back for vengeance. Fury and Alarm are going to fall, and he's just sitting behind his shield wall, being able to just go unimpeded. The damage is just non-existent. And Linkser eventually falls down to Astro, but realistically, with Dante on the point, there's no way you're going to be able to cap this now.
Why are they trying to stall when they're not in control? Like, that's the issue. Houston's been in control of this for a very long time. And Philadelphia's playing it like they're counting up percentages here.
No, Astro's going full solo queue. He's just moved 2 people into the pit as well, one of them being Dante, who's now switched on to the Tracer. Carpe kills off Meko as he comes back on a Tracer of his own. Philadelphia Fusion refused to give the point up just yet, although they haven't really given the point up. They're still fighting for control. It's a minuscule amount of percent away from actually getting flipped over. They're still stalling this out somehow. Well, it's just Dante left on the point, and there we go.
Okay. Philadelphia able to brawl that out and finally bring it back. It looked for a little bit very concerning that they were just going to keep feeding in and throwing in one by one because they ended up burning ultimates. They moved over to the Wrecking Ball, but meanwhile, the entire time, Houston was in control of that point and counting up. The good thing for Philadelphia is that they burned out a lot of nice Houston ultimates. So Philadelphia, I mean, at 70% too, they're kind of in one-fight territory. They've got Blizzard, they've got Shatter.
They were going up against the Blizzard though, and in a defensive position it's pretty good. Oh, Hydration managed to skip out of there rather fast. EQO ends up going down to a turret of all things, one of the sim turrets on the side. The beat forward for the Outlaws to push the Philadelphia Fusion away. With EQO down doesn't mean he has to swap over to something rather fast. He jumps onto the Tracer to try and get back to the point in time. Hydration has the Shadow, waiting for the Orisa to turn on gold, but he's in a lot of trouble. Astro and EQO are just trying to kill him off, but refusing to fall just yet as Rappel is keeping him alive. A lucky fire strike nails Fury through the shield as OT is now in session for the Outlaws. 99% as they manage to find the flip. Carpe kills Linkser, but they end up trading as Linkser also kills Carpe with the right click. A ball for Meko to get back to the point on time, and Sado makes it back to the Shadow hit the ground. Rappel and Dante now down. He ends up getting finished off as Hydration also refuses to die. A very scrappy fight. Now Lynx are even on the Doomfist to get back in time, but EQO not quite getting to the point. The Outlaws will take this stage.
It had been overtime for so long that the moment you step off, that wick burns down so quickly. That was just a mess all over the place from Houston and Philadelphia. There's really no way to describe it. I'm actually pretty impressed with Hydration's Reinhardt. You know, we've seen him mostly playing the Orisa while Meko plays the Sigma in more traditional compositions, but his Rein looked pretty clean. He's able to stay alive a bunch of those times. And yeah, it looked pretty good early on, dueling shatters both these teams, but that was just sloppy from both sides. Never really a full reset, but sometimes that stage lends itself to that style, especially when you have teleporters and very fast heroes. So a brawl, and hopefully that's a taste of what's to come.
All right. We've got the junk right now for Dante. That's what I like to see. I love the small gap that he can fire through. So much damage on the Fusion side. Carpe is actually on the sim of all things. Manages to kill off Linkser though. Sado was just swinging through the shield. Now Carpe is going to be able to set up on the points. Like I mentioned before, when the sim gets rolling, charging up and just left-clicking the shields, there's nothing really stopping the sim from just destroying not only the shields, but then you have to kind of rely on your Baptiste to keep you alive, not only with the right clicks, but the Immortality field coming out too. It's just kind of a big snowball if you get the sim ramped up. Linkser swapped over to the Kree, but instantly Alarm takes out Rappel, and Fury helps Linkser go back to spawn.
Yeah, and these small kind of stages of control, I like the sim a lot, especially in the meta that we're currently in, where you're anticipating almost 100% of the time you're going to see double shields on control maps. We see Dive on Gibraltar and other maps like that, but you're going to see either an Orisa Sigma or an Orisa Reinhardt. So sim can be really good at getting that shield crack pressure, and as you mentioned, once those shields crack, you're already doing a ton. Sado hits a fire strike.
Yeah, Alarm fires through the shield. Manages to fires through the window, sorry, but manages to find Hydration. Dante's tire also taken out by Alarm. Not a bad start whatsoever. I'm curious if Linkser or Dante do end up swapping here. There you go.
Yeah,
okay, Dante using the tire, wants to jump onto the May instead.
Yeah, the May should allow them at least some entry here, because especially if you're going to get held off at this door by double tanks, the May wall allows you to maybe split them in half.
There's a visit from EQO. Speaking about splitting people off, a couple of the Outlaws are near the server room. Dante struggling to stay alive in the front line. Yeah, Sado just cleaves through everybody. And now Hydration in a world of hurt. Charges back to the rest of his team. Somehow survives, but the damage has really already been done at this point, as Dante is only just now spawning. And Philadelphia Fusion know it. They're backing off rather fast.
Yeah, the halt into the fire strike. Houston Outlaws, this is their last chance to win this map, and they're pushing against a Philadelphia team that has the same ults as them for the most part, except a little bit more.
There's the window for Supercharger, and Warp to stop them from backing off instantly. It's an instant kill onto Funny Astro. Window plus Fire Strike hurt a lot. Jexay falls, but yeah, there should be the Outlaws winning this one. Hydration even sending out the Shatter, but someone does need to touch, however, for the Outlaws. Couldn't quite get there in time. Okay, is that a C9? I don't know. I think yes.
Maybe.
There was 2 tanks and a support still alive for the Outlaws. Whoops-a-daisy. They step off, and the stage is Fusions.
One good turn deserves another because Philadelphia kind of stepped off in the last round here on Lijiang Tower. This is, I think this would aptly be described as a slobber knocker. Maybe it's just control that's getting this out of these teams, but these fights are going nuts. Fire Strikes have accounted for so many kills. The Halt Window Fire Strike is one of the coolest combos. It just deletes a team. We're going to settle it all here on Night Market. Maybe a little more traditional compositions run here, as this map really presents itself to be played by a Tracer and a Genji. And we have Carpe on the long range, and the only difference between these squads is Tracer Genji.
This is where you want to see EQO on, though, realistically. Nasty dash. I love trying to do that myself, but I'm a terrible Genji. Genji's probably one of my worst heroes, but trying to do that where you jump behind them and then Shuriken and then dash away, I always end up dying because I underestimate how much damage people can do. Definitely know EQO a little bit better than I am, and a ton better than Brenji, that is for sure. Carpe and Linkster end up trading kills as Repel and Sado end up going down, and now Carpe, unfortunately left alone on the point, as his front line is just getting demolished. Winning the tank line duel here is going to be what's important. Carpe is going to be hindered by all of these shields. So making your way onto the point and actually pressuring out Outlaws, so I think was the right play there for Carpe, but unfortunately his tank line did end up going down first.
I don't love it, though, because the moment you see the progress going on the point, you know that you very likely have the edge on the front lines. And though Carpe was trying to get in position where he could still help out from the point, not exactly like a Tracer backcapping, it still signals the other team that they can push your front line without a worry of the damage. So sometimes it works out. That one I'm not so certain of.
Dante being very patient with this pulse bomb. It felt like it was lobbed it out there, but of course Immortality Field and an Eat from Sigma is available, so you have to be a little bit careful. EQO does have the Nanoblade available. There's the pulse bomb. And the Immortality Field has gone down. It's a good chance now for the damage to be a little bit more permanent than it normally would be. However, Jexay falling is kind of bad. Linkster sends out the Bob to relieve some of this pressure, and it does end up killing off Sado, who got dragged back into it. Another Bob coming through, this time on Carpe's side, and even EQO using the Blade to try and force some more kills out in favor of the Fusion, albeit Neko and Hydration end up going down, and a lot of ults expended by the Fusion. However, they're able to at least save on to that Flux, plus that Rally coming online for the next fight.
There's so many combos that we end up putting with the Blade, but I think Bob Blade might be one of my favorites, just because it's fun to say, but also it just distracts so much. It puts people in weird positions. It ended up having to Meko rotate to the side where he's not as effective as he would be, so that's an easy cleanup for the Blade. And then you just have a cowering Orisa in the corner trying to shield from Bob. That's an easy cleanup for the Blade. So those end up working really well. Anytime you can get a team turned around and distracted, your Genji's going to do a lot more work.
Armor pack for Linkster. Dynamite up in the air as the Flux did hit both tanks. He's now trying to pick up Carpe. Carpe doesn't quite see him, but the 1v1 almost resulted with Linkster grabbing the kill, but that Rally coming out and the armor pack being thrown at the DPS keeps them alive and well. Philadelphia Fusion continuing to hold this point rather firmly, matching Outlaws' percent at this point, 60% on the board, and they've got Supercharger and Window to rely on now. And I think the best thing about those ultimates, it just allows the DPS to almost instantly get ult too. EQO is definitely going to have Blade for this next engagement, same with that Bob as well.
Yeah, Houston's going to try to match here. I mean, they might end up having to use their own window just right in front of the point to try to shield crack. Maybe Sato was going to hold on to that shield, but Fury definitely not going to let his go. But Philly just initiates with their own window. Extremely
early pick. And Fury finds Stu, in fact, through the window as well. Hyperspheres instantly kill off the Outlaws,
just
and
has
now
to
one
fight
fight left.
They have to fight with 4, maybe, unless they can get people to touch the point, but we're at 91 here, and they're going to push back.
This is good. This is so good. Playing their spawn, they have to get to the point anyway. The rallying brig is so low. EQO needed one more swing, gets booped away. Someone is touching. I believe it is Dante, and maybe Linkster, in fact. They do end up cleaning them off. It was the only people that could actually get there in time, and there we go. The Philadelphia Fusion take the fight to the Outlaws spawn, and they're going to claim Lijiang in the first map in the series.
Yeah, really sloppy on the first two stages, but that can sometimes be chalked up to some unorthodox compositions. We had a Torb v Sim on the very first round of Lijiang Tower, so those can be really weird to play against Torb, Sim, and May. When it got a little more standard there on Night Market, you saw Philadelphia able to get the wins, get the pullouts, and I think, you know, EQO is also one of those guys that we think of not quite in the same vein as Rascal, but someone who can pick up new heroes very quickly and has a pretty large kit available to him, so he might be filling the Genji gap when they need it. And I think it's a really smart call by the Philadelphia coaches to make sure that you have someone who can at least play Genji when you want to pull it out. He's just too good to not have a player in your roster who can run the Shimada.
Well, I'll tell you who they do have on their bench. The secret weapon. He might come out soon. I hope so. Will we see Chipser? You have to find out after this break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by ZipChair Gaming, the official chair supplier of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back. We're in the midst of a slobber knocker of a game. Outlaws against the Fusion. And we're going to Blizzard World. Next, surprise, surprise, it was Outlaws' pick. They performed, well, pretty well, I would say, yesterday as they faced against the Mayhem and managed to full hold on point number 1, Hex.
Yeah, they didn't have the greatest offense. Stopped before the second point. Dante trying to back cap a lot, and Florida's defense was doing a really good job of keeping that Tracer in check. But then their defense just a complete full hold. Linkser was hitting a ton of shots, a ton of dynamites, and it seemed like Florida on that map never really even had a chance. They barely ever touched the point. They were getting picked off early and often, so it makes a ton of sense for Houston to go to this map against the Philadelphia Fusion. We also have a substitution for the Philadelphia Fusion. Boombox is going to come in for Funny Astro.
Yeah, we've seen not a lot of Funny Astro in recent times. Well, in the tournament at least. We've seen a bit more Boombox. It was nice to see the Astro, but it kind of makes sense too because they wanted to play the Lucio on a Night Garden. So having him in and then swapping him around is great because Astro is a Lucio player at heart, that is for sure. Definitely more solo queue style than anything, which is always entertaining. Not quite ready Lucio, okay. Astro's a little bit better than that, I think. But that makes a whole bunch of sense. Now they're not going to want to run Lucio because they're playing on things like Blizzard World, so having Boombox come in and play the Batiste is kind of perfect. We're going to be seeing Alarm on the on the Brig again.
On
And
the
this
Brig,
was a stat actually that came up before when they were against Mayhem. That Alarm's Baptiste is just absurd. Like, the healing output is ridiculous, the damage output is ridiculous, but shifting him over to the Brig to have Boombox play Baptiste, it was a bit... I thought initially, I thought it was rather questionable, but you can kind of see their process of thought now as well, because Boombox's Baptiste has actually been pretty damn solid.
It's solid, but I mean, it does kind of, Philadelphia runs into this problem, it seems, a little often when they're building rosters of these two heroes. You have one guy who's the best at both of them, where some other teams have like just guys who are specialists and are the best at that hero, and they don't really have this issues with depth. Like I said, it's very difficult for Philadelphia to run a Widow Tracer necessarily, because Carpe is probably the best player on both of those. Alarm is probably your best Brig and your best BAP, so it does become a bit of a downgrade. Now, this nothing against Boombox. We haven't seen a ton of his play this year, so I'm always willing to be impressed and prove wrong. And we shall see if that goes on. But you're right. I mean, it makes sense to, Astro is that Lucio. Him and FD God are the aggro Lucios that we've got into this in this league. So we shall see. No surprises on the defense. It is going to be a very standard double shield comp with Brig and BAP. And then you have an Ashe and a Genji. Offensively, Ashe and Tracer. So, I mean, Houston's running exactly what they want to run.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the comp they'll run throughout the entire series, it feels.
Yep.
So they've seen most success. Mox is not broken. Why would you try and fix it? Early halts to try and pull the main tanks forwards and try and get the rocks up. Got to be careful on this corner. We've seen it time and time again where the Orisa can pull people over it if they're not careful. You're not watching out. E-Grade takes a little bit of burn damage, but he should be alright. He's just going to be peppering the back line full of Shurikens and dashing in, just playing super aggro. Looked like he deflected the rock there for a second. The rock, I think, hit the shield instead. Oh, Carpe going down.
That's big.
Yeah, Eco trying to make a play there. You can see kind of almost the desperation for Philadelphia Fusion. They have to make something happen. Hydration ends up falling, but look at the positioning here from Dante and Linksa, both of them on the flank. And as soon as one DPS goes down, Ikuro, you jumping into the back line, trying to force immortality and then pick up the Baptiste kill. It didn't happen, and then you get rolled over because the damage output from Dante is just on another level.
And the moment you know the other team is running an Ashe and you're a Tracer, you know exactly where they're going to be, very likely on top of the platform. Ashes aren't generally playing with their teams, so at the very least you get up there and put some pressure on. If you don't get the one clip or the kill, you're forcing out the coach gun, forcing them down to low grounds, and then maybe the rest of your team can push through while you're doing whatever you want because there's no one to stop you because you've already worked your way into the back line of the enemy team. Houston going to have that Pulse Bomb and the Flux. Jexay leading the way on Rally, but Alarm close behind.
Yeah, I want to know if they're gonna, if the Fusion are gonna wait for Sado to get his supercharger online before they use the blade, or use it right now. Beautiful window though, and a beautiful little back out as well. That was almost pretty sick, but
yeah,
a lot of that damage got eaten. Mega looks around like, wait, what just happened? This hydration just falls back down to earth, dead. Sad to say.
I really have a hard time seeing Orisa leaving the meta if Halt stays exactly the same as it is. It's just too valuable.
It's like a mini grab, right?
Yeah, it's when you have the coordination that the Overwatch League professionals have, you can combo it with everything. There's been so many different metas where it's like, well, it's Halt and Hook. Obviously, that makes sense. Well, it's Halt and Dash. It's Halt and Headshot. It's just so powerful. And the rest of her kit is rock solid. So I just don't see a world in which Orisa's like 100% pick rate.
She's pretty good. Pretty good angle tank. Ooh, long range Flux. That hit, I think, a box, actually. Box got sent up in the air and it's probably going to break on its descent, but no one else managed to get picked up. Bob is going to get sent forward by Houston as well. They are still moving the payload, mind you. Look at the payload progress right now. Dante once again trying to go for this back cap. EQO now looking for an incision with the blade. Is going to see the rest of Philadelphia on the high ground. Is going to able to get the health pack before he goes in. Or at least you'd hope so. There's the Bob on the high ground. Gee, he was steamrolled there. There's the dash, there's the slash, instantly killing off the immortality field, but he ends up getting whip-shotted out of the air by Jexay. And I think that Flux actually got cancelled, potentially by Meko. I saw everybody kind of drift down to earth, not get slammed back into it.
It's a really good position for the Amplification Matrix. It's going to crack shields, and they're forced to rally. Philadelphia has to rally to get back onto this payload.
they're also 0.5 away. They need to actually get onto the point right here, right now. Carpe finds one, is attempting to kill off Dante, who's being a little bit more elusive. You can see him turning 180, manages to help Alarm get the kill. Alarm was up there on Dante duty. He's so close to being delivered. Someone is on the payload though, so C9 is impossible at this point, and now it's just a clean up for EQO. Dash reset after dash reset, and a bit more ult charge as well. 70% towards a blade. This is where Houston got halted last time around, Hex, so flashbacks for them.
Yeah, it's exactly where, and what they really need is probably this Brigida to stay low ground and hang out right side, or the Genji, someone like that who doesn't need the long sight lines. Carpe wants to go top, and you know why I was saying that is because that's exactly where Dante's going to try to go. If Philadelphia's done any tape study on Blizzard World the last like 3 times Houston has played it, you know that Dante likes this entrance, he likes to back up, he likes to put pressure, and you know, he never really gets a successful back cap, but it forces positioning out of Philadelphia. Look, Philadelphia's just going to give up high ground immediately.
I love it also touching the payload there because it was rocking backwards. Halt, Flux up in the air. Oh, they rock the wrong tank. I think it looked like the body block there from Sado to make sure Fury was able to get that one off. Luckily enough, the cleanup was instantly there too. That was a ridiculous combo. 1 minute and 25 seconds now remains for the Outlaws, but look at the ults built up for the Fusion. They're going to have that supercharger online rather soon as well, so they can combo that with the Blade.
I think Philadelphia just has to make sure that they can stay alive through what I'd imagine will be a Houston push with Rally. If Philadelphia can give ground, maybe get a pick, they can respond with a rally of their own and turn the momentum. But a lot of this is going to come down to the DPS ultimates. Linkser should get bobbed during this fight, but Blade, Pulse Bomb, if either can find purchase.
There's the Pulse. Immortality will get sent out by Boombox. They also use that window on the high ground too to force movement from the Outlaws. Same kind of rotation as well. They want to be able to get onto the high ground ASAP. Someone needs to touch the payload. It's still moving back. Meko hiding behind that pylon. And they now are on the high ground. This is exactly where they want to be. Forcing the hand of the Fusion at this point. Ikuro still sitting on that blade. Sado has had a tough time actually building up the supercharger as well. And they're using Carpe's bomb to try and stall for some additional time and force the Outlaws off of the point and actually off of the high ground even, sorry. There's the blade in the back. They managed to find some damage. The dash reset doesn't end up working out for him though. The Immortality field came through also and Sado ends up falling. Outlaws in a good position now with a main tank and a DPS falling for the Fusion as Carpe ends up taking a headshot by Linkser. The Bob sent out 2. This should be good enough to capture the second point and make their way to third. No flashbacks. They're not being halted there yet again. Still a good look for the Fusion though, as there's only a 1 minute and 20 seconds Hex in the bank, and realistically this third point, because it is so defensible, as there's so many small areas where you can kind of hide if you need to and wait for your supports to come out. Plus being on a Genji as well, rather hard to kill sometimes.
Just really nice rotations from the Outlaws. We saw a little bit of it yesterday where their strategy just seemed superior in a lot of ways. To be able to pull that really hard high ground, it pulls Philadelphia all the way back. Again, Philadelphia was not in position to be able to use a lot of the shields and everything that they needed early on in that fight.
Ooh, nice little stick!
That's pretty.
On the back of Fury. Not sure if Immortality field was down. No, it's come up just this second. So they're going to be able to play this corner quite easily, but with a tank dead, it's disastrous. As I say, those Boombox fires through the window, is able to clap back as Meko ends up falling as well.
So the Pulse Bomb does not lead to anything, and Philadelphia in a very decent spot to hold on here with only 30 seconds left. Dante's going to go to the Genji, just try to get some mobility, maybe dash resets, and maybe fight a more even upfront fight. But EQO's got Blade, there is Bob on the field, and even if all of Houston gets to the cart, Fury can lift him right off it. But another cool angle of approach from Houston.
Dante just desperately trying to build up that blade. There's the blade from EQO, though. He's going to get stunned. Any more damage coming out? No, I don't think so. Whip shot it back as well towards the payload. Outlaws do need to touch, mind you. It's finally getting contested, but they're going to get fluxed off it too. Someone has to go instantly to the point, otherwise it's going to be all over. Oh, before they hit the ground, Boombox, EQO, the damage had already been done. They're going to get halted just after second point. The map will end here on the next round, round number 2, as we see the Outlaws on the defense. Can they pull the same thing off as they did yesterday with the Mayhem and full holding? Time will tell as we jump into round number 2.
Yeah, and Philadelphia needed that flux at the end too, because they just barely missed a kind of cool little combination where you send in the Dragon Blade and then you send in an offensive Immortality field. You saw it come down just a little bit late as EQO was backing out of that fight with the deflect, but that's one way that if a team's kind of stuck in a room in a corner, you can keep your Genji alive during it, give him a little extra health bar there, and then start healing him through it. But a little mistiming, that's to be expected. EQO, you know, it hasn't played a ton with this team, but then the Flux comes in, and then EQ's like, oh, I have another chance.
Yeah, and in a small room with a lot of low HP people, it's very easy to get the resets. Sad Bob at the end there, unlucky. Doesn't really do all of anything. Is left in a 1v6 scenario, which I don't think has ever happened in the history of Overwatch. A 1v6 Bob.
That was a bummed out Bob. B.O.B.
Bummed, yeah, he does feel pretty bummed out. Unlucky. Sad for Bob, but it's okay. He gets his chance again.
Houston's defense looked unbreakable. Again, I don't think Florida had their best series I've ever seen them play yesterday. But Houston looked better than they have, and you know, they're another team on the up. The parity in this league is becoming absurd, where you know 13s are beating higher seeds, and 11s and 10s are in this tournament. So I think the gap in this meta, at the very least, and we'll see how the year moves on, the gap has closed between, well, number 2 and number 10. How's that? I still think 1 is 1.
Yeah, 1 is 1, 1 is shock.
Yeah.
If you couldn't guess already. Yeah, their defense did look ridiculous the other day against Mayhem. Repeat performance, maybe? Oh, Lynx is dead. It's unfortunate. Very unfortunate, so maybe not anymore. And yeah, EQO is just playing frontline right now. Has no fear. Immortality field thrown out rather offensively as well. This is what I really like to see. The Immortality, of course, it's so good at deflecting so many ultimates and incoming damage like the rocks, pulse bombs, etc. But throwing it out like Boombox did there is so aggressive, and you're able to just get so much done. EQO can play super aggro because the rest of Outlaws have to focus that Immortality before they actually can secure the kills, and it's just another line of defense that you have to chew through. And it's especially on a map like Blizzard World or just any map that you have to capture a point, you have to wipe them pretty quickly, otherwise the stragglers, the defenders can kind of get back in time and time again and can get stalled out for longer.
And this was the meta that Dante's having a rough defense right now. This was the meta that we heard about in scrims, where it's double shield, bat break, walk forward with Genji. And Genji's so good at this because he does add in that damage on the front line against shield crack. The deflect sends so much of that damage back into their shields, and it forces out abilities that he's able to get in and clean up very quickly.
Nice little window, but yeah, Immortality field is going to make sure they escape. Very small little gap there, you can fire through. Immo field saves everybody from Dante's pulse bomb as well. That's the power of it. Oh, God. I felt that one, actually. Just the sound Brig makes when she whip shots you is not music to my ears. It's quite the opposite, in fact.
Well, getting some push now, at least, as the rest of Philadelphia is posturing up to try to get in there. Very aggressive EQO. He gets in there, gets the last bit for the blade.
He's himself the blade, yeah, and they're all focusing down the bandits is going to be important. They forced out Immortality field already. This is EQO's time to shine. Jump straight onto the DPS. Can't play on Linkstream, you don't stand a chance. Brig neither. However, I say that, maybe she stays alive for a little longer. Pops the rally and Jexay finds the kill. Luckily, the healing came through just in time, but unfortunately, little could be said of the front line, though, as Philadelphia Fusion took that time where EQO's blade was creating so much space to roll over the Outlaws tanks.
Yeah, very patient, and you're correct. It's the space created. He goes in there, they have to abandon high ground. The Brig has to abandon everyone just to come down and try to deal with it, but meanwhile he does get Lynxer out of that fight, which frees up Carpe to get all the headshots he wants because he doesn't have to worry about the duel at all. So a very good blade, a patient blade to make sure that the Immortality field wasn't up. I'm liking EQO's Genji so far. It's looking good.
Early pulse bomb doesn't connect with anybody, but does a lot of damage. Forces once again the Immo field. 3 minutes left on the time bank for Fusion. Dong. You see what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Dong. It's like hitting a big bell with a hammer. I guess it's kind of a hammer. It's a flail, right?
Yeah, it's a flail, Morningstar, mace combination.
I didn't know. Well, I don't know what Morningstar mace is. Not gonna lie. Dante again gets taken out instantly by Carpe. Ash is so deadly against the Tracer. If you can land the shots, one headshot will do it. into the Bob through the window. Enemy window, of course, but Bob doing a whole bunch to actually force people away. However, Boombox is able, and Carpe in fact, to kill off 2 members of the Outlaws, and now EQO running amok in the back line as well. Dante once again falls, he spawns, he instantly dies. Carpe has had his number this whole map, it feels.
Yeah, I mean, Dante's just not having a good time, and EQO is winning duels against him, and then Carpe comes in and gets the finishes. EQO is playing a super aggressive Genji, and I like it, because one thing that has always bugged me about Philly is sometimes they lack that killer instinct. EQO, emotional quotient 0, does not care about your feelings. He cares about getting kills, and he just goes after people. I mean, some of these dash-ins and or jump-ins and dash-outs, he's down to like 200 HP. He is going for it. He's super aggro. I love it.
Seeing the armor packs, mate, like, that's what really does it. Oh, Dante dies him to death again as Carpe is trying to click his head once more. They have Bob, they have Blade, they have that Flux coming online as well. Window being used by Repel to try and get some space. Or at least I think so. He has 0% ult charge, I don't know. EQ ends up going down. This should be just Philadelphia Fusion resetting here. There's a, they've used a fair bit of ult. They also rallied and used the Bob, in fact. They definitely think this is winnable. Now Dante is dead, and Lynx's Bob also bites the dust. A beautiful hold off and an instant accretion hit as well onto Meko. This might just be it. EQO still has the Blade they're sitting on as well. Outlaws are on their last limbs. Now they have to deal with EQO somehow. The Brick's going to be able to do most of the work there, but they force everybody off the payload. And the Fusion will go 2-0 up in the series as Outlaws unable to hold just before that 3rd point.
EQO ends it with 27 limbs, 16 final blows. This was my concern entering into this match, is that they need the piece to be able to play the meta. You know, in dead honesty, I'd almost forgotten about EQO, except for his brief stint on Echo this year. Hasn't played a ton for this Philadelphia Fusion roster. And I gotta say, I had questions about Boombox on Baptiste, but he didn't miss a single immortality field. Those pulse bombs got nothing. Carpe and EQO combined to shut down Dante. And we've seen Houston, when you can shut down Dante, not as good as when you can't, I guess would be the easiest way to say it. He is their hard carry, and I think Philadelphia put a lot of focus on him, and Dante did almost nothing on that defense.
Yeah, that's why I love the... Although I would love to see the Carpe on the Widowmakers, why I love the Ashe a little bit more. The amount of one-shots that Carpe got onto Dante was a little bit absurd, and even, like I mentioned, on the 2nd point push, insta-killed almost out of spawn. Like, there's nothing else you can do. It is, yeah, super demoralizing. Well, they're 2-0 down right now. Can they come back? Reverse sweep potential? I don't know. We'll have to wait and find out. Outlaws, they get to choose the map next. We'll be right back after this break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Welcome to our game break presented by Cheezer Groups. Zoe here, joined by Costa and Reinforce, and currently the Philadelphia Fusion are leading the Charge 2-0 against the Houston Outlaws. Now, if we are looking at that match though, and specifically the first map, that was a bit of a brawl there, Costa.
Yeah, this is kind of going back to old Philadelphia Fusion that we used to know and love, where they just love to fight, and they take the fight everywhere and anywhere that they can. And we saw that from them in the first map on Lijiang Tower. It was chaos, especially on that first round on Garden. So I think the Houston Outlaws need to be careful about getting into that way. There was a fight on the point which felt like for forever, and the Philadelphia Fusion eventually come out on top, and they generally will. I think individually they have the better players, so they need to try and keep it coordinated as much as they can. So it wasn't bad, and the Houston Outlaws are doing well, but the Philadelphia Fusion are definitely getting the edge in this match thus far.
Yeah, it does seem like the Philadelphia Fusion have brought their A game so far this series because they are so dominant and they're not looking particularly shaky. The teamwork is there. They're really gelling, combining their abilities well. And I think we saw that primarily on Blizzard World, where you saw the impact that Sado and Fury had on the Orisa and the Sigma, and how they were able to synchronize with their backline and use amplification matrices to really shut down the entirety of the Houston Outlaws. How many times did we see an amplification matrix comes out, followed by like a halt and an accretion stun? Like, it was beautiful teamwork coming through from the Philadelphia Fusion. So they've really upped their game, absolutely.
What are the thoughts on EQO? He's back in the lineup, unsurprisingly so, of course, now with Genji being dominant, but we haven't seen much of him as of late.
I think he slotted back in really well. His Genji mechanics look really clean. He's not overstaying his welcome. He's playing the aggressive style like we know and love from EQO, but he is disciplined. He is waiting for the correct moments. He's trying to get the immortality field out. He's trying to coordinate with the halts. So it just looks clean across the board. On that note, though, I think the Houston Outlaws have to be careful. Over time, I think we can all agree that the Genji composition is probably better than the Tracer composition. I would like to see Houston Outlaws go put Dante on the Genji and, try and take on the 1v1, because I don't think they're going to get it. Dante felt so useless on that second map of Blizzard World because the Philadelphia Fusion is shutting him down at every turn.
Yeah.
I dare saying that may or may not have something to do with the two players which are starring in our Crunch Time presented by Cheesy Grooves. It's all about the Ashes creating that space for their DPS partner in crime. And which of those two Ashes actually got more done, Reinforce?
Well, I hate to spoil it to you, Zoe, but it was Carpe. Carpe was the dominant Ashe. And I think you could look at a lot of head-to-heads in this Blizzard World map and saw a big difference. But if we take a look here on Ashe specifically, Dynamite kills 15 compared to Lynxer's 3. Final blows 11 compared to Lynxer's 5. Eliminations 35 compared to Lynxer's 10. And I mean, this was present in almost every role throughout the map. I was tempting bringing up a stat card that said hydration against Sado, because you just saw such a massive difference between the two players. And I think it really boils down to how they executed these fights. The Houston Outlaws, it doesn't fall on one single member, so I'm sorry, Lynxer, you don't deserve all that blame, because I think overall as a team, Fusion just played better and enabled their teammates better. And I think you really saw that statistically shine through on all kinds of these roles. So I think when you see the teamwork come alive, when it comes down to the halts, the accretions, the gravitic fluxes, the bobs, like everything just came together for the Philadelphia Fusion. And these are the big statistical differences you are going to see when that happens.
Well, Costa, we're heading into Volskaya next, and do I remember that correctly, though? Wasn't that the actual kryptonite of the Outlaws not that long ago? How are we feeling about that pick for them?
It was their kryptonite in the past, but it is theoretically the best map in which you don't have to play Genji on. It does enable Tracer. There's a lot of easy flanking routes the Tracer can get behind the opposition team very easy. So I would say that's why they're leaning more towards it, because Genji can be countered. But, as I said, I don't think that's the way forward for the Houston Outlaws. It is playing to their strengths, but I would prefer to see them go towards that Genji.
Yeah, it deserves to be said on the Volskaya Industries, like historically, the Houston Outlaws are really good at killing Diva mechs, but there's no Divas in the game right now, so we'll have to see how that impacts it.
Well, we'll find out in just a bit, but before that, Reinforce, I always put you on the spot. I always force you to put your power rankings out there, and then, of course, you get a lot of flack for it, because not everyone agrees. So I decided to give you my fruit power rankings before
before you can go to yours.
Okay.
So just take a look,
What have we
digest
got?
it, chew a little bit on it, and tell me how you feel.
Avocado #1. It's the best list
yeah.
I've ever seen.
It-
I
it
completely
yeah, it's
agree.
good. Strawberries up there, peach. Yeah, what do you think,
Lemon is
Costa?
unreasonably high though. Why is lemon #2?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
It's been my favorite fruit actually, like ever since I'm a child. It's very
Do you eat
versatile.
lemons
You can,
alone?
I think
I
a
eat
lime
lemons
is
just
better.
like that. Like
I prefer
people would eat
lime
an
over
apple.
lemon, I think.
A
And
lime is not
also-
as juicy though. You're not getting as much. Like a lemon, you can eat like an orange. Like you can peel it and eat it. With the lime, it's not as much on it.
It's so
Eat the
sour,
lemon.
though.
Small.
You
Okay,
don't just
hold
eat
on.
a lemon.
Like sour.
Okay, we
Yeah.
can't let this go on for too long because obviously we have a match at hand. But I will, as a final note, say
Okay.
that grapes got screwed in this power ranking
No,
for
grapes
the various drinks.
Grapes are low tier. Grapes
The
are low
various
tier.
drinks they produce, you know, I don't know if I can talk about it on stream,
Well,
but I
that's
just
a
want to say
great
grapes got
variance.
screwed.
I agree that those are
Okay.
good, but then there's also raisins, which are actually made by the devil.
Yeah, F
and
tier.
everyone who likes
Raisins
them
F tier
is
as well.
dead to me. Yeah, mega F tier.
Raisins in the bread? Hello?
No,
Yeah, that's the worst part. You're ruining good bread with raisins.
it's true actually. You ruin everything with raisins if you put raisins in it, and I'm gonna stand my ground here with that argument.
I'm molding.
And that's perfectly. That's a perfect transition now. Let's just head into the second half because there's nothing else to say really about this fruit power ranking, which is 8 here.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Groups. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch. Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, Outlaws up against the Fusion. Reverse sweep, maybe? I said that about Justice versus Shock, but Shock rounded out the series with a clean 3-0. We'll see if Philly can do the same and have their chance, maybe, if they pass the semi-finals as well, to go up against Shock in the finals also. Also, if they pass semi-finals too. Whole lot, obviously, on the line for tomorrow.
Winner of this set will go on to face the Toronto Defiant. So a team that not a lot of people expected to make it as far as they have, but the meta suits them very well, as it does for this Houston team. I had questions about the Philadelphia team, but EQO has come in and played this amazing Genji, has given them the piece that they need to really round out this meta. So now they can play Tracer Genji, they can play Ashe Genji, Widow Genji, Carpe doesn't have to really worry about it, and we're going to head to Volskaya Industry, which, like many maps are now becoming in this meta, is a pretty solid Genji map. You can definitely play Genji on this map, but I think Houston's picking this because it also allows you to play the Ashe Tracer, which I think is one of their best compositions.
It's a hands down their best comp so far, and I gotta say it, there is so many good Genji players in the league, and having a meta, or metas I should say, plural, that have not allowed the Genji to be played has been a bit disappointing to a lot of Genji players, I think, out there, and a lot of people that are fans of seeing high-level Genji play, and it's such a blessing, honestly, to have it back. EQO, of course, was on brig duty for some of the time in GOATs, but oh boy, having him back on the Genji is actually so sick to see. And of course we have people like Sparkle, and oh, the world's our oyster at this point for Genji play and Tracers alike as well. It's a good meta to be in, I think.
When that Genji gets the blade out, all the resources on both sides go into the Genji. So it's really just which support is hitting the right ultimates. I mean, if you can combo it with a halt and get the initial resets going on, it's just enormous. Because you would look at some of these compositions, you're like, oh, well, it's double shields, they have an immortality field, it's double stuns a lot of the time. So some really good Genjis will bait out early brig dashes, or if you have someone else bait out a brig dash, or if you see the accretion go flying. Like, it's really about finding these small windows where you're not going to get double stunned, because most of these Genjis are living through single stuns and still getting value out of it. It's the double stun lock that ends up killing some of these Genjis when all that damage comes through. So we shall see. Houston, no surprise, is going to be on, well, the Houston composition. This has been their best comp in the same 6 for the last couple of sets.
Yeah, same with Philadelphia Fusion, though.
Yep.
Tracer, just Genji. Me only use Blade. EQO is going to have a slightly tougher time actually building up towards the Blade here, with Carpe dead, even more so at this point. He has managed to find an entrance onto Lynx, and he's already used his dash as well. Sado manages to take out Hydration. This fight is going to be in favor of the Outlaws, just going on the spawns. Lynx is somehow staying alive in the front line. EQO trying to deflect all that damage back into his face, but unsuccessful, as Lynx was able to back off in time. Sado also ends up falling, and there you go. There's the damage that you wanted to see. EQO last alive on the point, gets a rock to the dome, ends up going down, and that'll be Outlaws taking the first point.
It might slow down the Outlaws. That Hydration is going to have to go back to spawn and switch. Just a very small slowdown, but the Outlaws can open this up with a Pulse Bomb, and then a Bob into Grav Flux is really good to get people out of the immortality field that's inevitably going to come down when that Flux goes off. So Boombox will drop it, but then Bob will be shooting in the sky along with Lynxer trying to add in some damage. So this is a very, very winnable fight for Houston. Philadelphia has to stay alive long enough to get their rally up from Alarm, and also EQO might just have to use this Blade defensively too.
Yeah, coming over.
Dante wants to blink over there. He knows that.
He does. EQO is refusing. Oh my word! I think it was at least one shark into the head.
Oh,
Alarm!
no.
Oh, disaster! Alarm falls off the map via a rock. Bob's going to settle the point as well. That's a nice little hole on the top side too, as EQO also ends up falling down. He can come back with the Blade Hex, but it might be too little too late. Already one tick for the Outlaws, and a second is on the way as soon as Fusion step off of the point. The Flux from Meko didn't fight all too much, but it's created all the space that they need. Fury hang around by that Mega Pack, but Meko is going to be able to check him. Fury falling is going to be bad. Now the Blade from EQO is going to have to seal the deal, but Meko finds another one. EQO had nothing to back him up with, and beautiful time by the Outlaws. 4 minutes And 40 seconds in their time bank going into the next round. If they're even granting Philly that one. That was a steamroll over the second point.
That was extremely fast. The rally comes in, but alarm goes down super early, so it ends up being a desperation rally, not able to hit everybody that they want. Philadelphia got 1 kill during that, but Houston able to completely clean it up. EQO doesn't want to go in without any support from the rest of his team, so he's kind of just dancing around the top. And then we highlighted in the pre-match how well Meko has been playing. He also opens up that first point a lot for them too, where everyone's kind of dancing around the corner. After the first kill comes in, he rotates around, so while Philadelphia is hiding in the bunker, he's just shooting in orbs and getting everything done. It opens up space for Philadelphia to drop their window around the corner, or excuse me, for Houston to drop the window around the corner. Really cracked open that first point. Nice fluxes, nice accretions. Meko has really stepped up his Sigma game.
He has. A little replay and how that actually transpired. Oh, the halt into the rock, yeah. Oh boy, that was a beautiful rock. Marked it so well, and Alarm, oh dear, kind of disappointingly just shield slams the side of the wall instead of getting back up. That's truly unlucky, but that's what started it all out. Alarm going down, not being able to apply that rally too, and even build one up was not what Philly wanted to happen.
Less than ideal. All right,
hey,
not going for the super
old.
aggressive teleporter. Yeah, you know, teleporter left side can be super cheeky, and not going to go for that here. Lynx are on the Widow, notably.
Yeah, high ground hold for the Outlaws. Except for Dante. Ooh, that was so clean! EQO, okay. Dante falls. This is kind of what happened to Outlaws when they were attacking a second ago. Dante is going to be able to get back to the point in time, of course. Lynx are now in trouble as well. Another solo kill onto the side, and Lynx is going to take a whole bunch of time coming back as Widowmaker. Has only got that grapple for mobility, and now the Fusion can rotate themselves onto point. Outlaws in the attacking position now. EQO, look how close he is to Blade as well. 87% and 90 now as he deflects loads of damage back in. They're not even stepping onto the point. They know they can win the 5 on 6. Nice bit of tracking from Boombox. Ends the fight rather fast, and this should be the first cap going over to Fusion. It's all how EQO use this Blade now onto the second point. Can be rather easily snowballed. Lynx has changed over to the Ashe. He's had enough of the Widowmaker already.
And just the Executioner Blade right there, and gets it through it. At least Ashe gives you some survivability, but Lynxer's going to be so far behind on the ultimates here. Now Carpe is going to have Bob. Bob Blade can come in here. Philadelphia taking a run at Houston's very fast offensive time.
EQO has been spotted, slammed as well, but look at that armor. It's pretty good. Oh, Dante takes a headshot as well. Having a rough series is Dante, especially against Carpe. There's not really much he can do, it feels like. That one-shot headshot with the Ashe when you're scoped in. Blade's available. There's no supercharger. EQO's going to pull out anyway. Immortality Field's already been used. Now the resets are coming through. Meko's going to fall, and EQO now pushing the rest of the Outlaws into this small hut, and now onto the right-hand side where you can easily get shielded off. Fusion now on the point. Might find a quicker time, in fact, if the Outlaws can't get in time. EQO finds the double dash. Repel and Lynx end up going down. In fact, they're going to be able to do it. They're going to be able to hold people and push people off. There you go. Like 6 seconds faster than the Outlaws. Of course, if you're wondering why, but you should be used to it at this point, but I'll explain it why they went down to 2 minutes. They didn't want, the devs didn't want the 12-12, the infamous 12-12 going on. So both times do get reduced down to 2 minutes, and the time difference is obviously apparent there too. But 6 seconds, so 2 minutes for Outlaws and 2 minutes 6 for the Fusion. That was we're saying like, wow, Outlaws so fast to finish, but you know, Fusion do the same and one better.
I've been a part of some of those casts where you have a 6-6 Volskaya score. Volskaya, where defense, oddly enough, does not exist. You'd think a fortified base, you'd have some defense, but neither of these teams putting up any sort of defense. EQO gets the Blade, and you're going to see the people he doesn't kill here. He rotates around, and this is like a double kill dash. Not even a dash, just shurikens.
Shuriken dash.
Yeah, we're on the Carpe cam at that point in time, but you saw them, and you knew that EQO was just waiting for the right moment. His Blade was going down, but there's still a lot of tools in Genji's kit to be able to finish that up. And this Philadelphia, it took him a little bit to adjust to the meta. Like I said, this is the first time in the Summer Showdown, even qualifiers, we've seen EQO come in and play. The last time we saw him was on the Echo. And this was the missing piece for Philadelphia. He brings that aggression, always going after it, and Philadelphia looks like a brand new team. Houston's been struggling for answers, and it's largely because Dante has been getting checked by EQO as well as Carpe, and no Dante, no win has kind of been the Houston Outlaws.
Now Dante trying to set himself up for success. Yeah, this no Dante, no win is becoming quite apparent. Lynx, I didn't see he's having a bad game, but nothing comparable right now to the Fusion's DPS line.
It's not as good as he had yesterday either.
No, definitely not. Dante taking a rather aggressive position. He was doing so much damage actually there to Sado. Sado's headbox, obviously, head hitbox is huge on the Orisa. So has to be a little bit more careful than most when peeking out angles or just getting flanked by the Tracer. Speaking of flanking, it's exactly what Dante's doing. Oh, the 180 headshot. The game sense from this lad is unreal. Okay. I'm glad we were on Dante's POV for that because, oh man, that looked good.
I was just about to say, I'm like, oh, he doesn't see him. This could be a one clip. And then just eyes in the back of his head. 180, one shot. Carpe continues to astound me, and I've been casting him since the very first bit of Overwatch League. And it seems like every week he does something it just seems inhuman. Absolutely inhuman.
Oh, wait, wow, look at this. 30 seconds, X.
30 seconds into a blade. Philadelphia, I think, would like to wait as much as possible to get Supercharger up. They're going to play it slow on the corner. Supercharger and window can definitely come up. Carpe is battling Dante.
Of course, they don't know the numbers. The ults, all perfect rock. The hold into the whip shot rock, instantly killing off Boombox. EQO now has to clutch it up. Sado has got the Supercharger. There it is. EQO's blade is ready and waiting. Dashes straight up into the air. Nice little deflect to stop the incoming damage. Sees the Immortality field coming out, but it's not enough. The Bob and Dante were able to clean the rest of Fusion up. That was so sad that they lost Boombox so early because there's almost no healing for you after him going down. It's only the alarm, just the AoE heals plus the armor pack switch. It's nothing compared to the Batiste. Outlaws managed to clutch it out in OT, but now they only have one more push to get to second.
And Meko did that same thing where he rotates far, and that means that Philadelphia can't hold that very first corner. It allows Houston to hold that corner more aggressively, and then Philadelphia just ends up being in the bunker, just taking all of the damage.
Oh, they have so many ults though. Look at Fusion. Hydration's going to be able to get out of that flux using that shift. Goes golden, is rather safe. Rally coming out as well, and Dante goes down again to Carpe. Someone stop this man, please! They hold them off the point, they push them all off, but it doesn't matter because Carpe is always there, watching and waiting for the Dante flank. Oh, God, just keep the cam on Carpe, please. It's just disgusting.
Oh, God, there's a Tracer that just... You're like, no, what? There's no way. There is no way these shots should be happening. And, I mean, we can say, like, Dante's not having the best match. I don't think Houston's playing poorly. It's just Carpe and EQ have found this other level right now. And this is what I always say about Carpe. He's always in the conversation as one of the best players in the world. What always puts him above some of the others, in my opinion, when you need it, when you need to win the series, when you need a shot, when you're 4v6, when you need it the most, Carpe always delivers. Always. Consistently clutch. Those shots are filthy. I need a shower.
Well, they have 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Carpe hit a few more of those, Hex, so we've still got some time to view it, and maybe Outlaws take the map as well. Of course, on the defense with 2 minutes, it's not the tallest order, but I think it's going to be yet again on EQO and, of course, Carpe trying to find Dante on the flank. Dante not switching off the Tracer. Although you've had a rough game, of course, if he can find a nice pulse or just a good one clip, is going to be way more valuable. On yeah, it's going to be way more valuable than something that's mediocre at best. So
you don't want to lose a series like trying to force a Sombra or forcing yourself on again. Lose it playing your best. If you do lose it, like, it's still a very holdable point right now.
Hello. Dante. Oh man, that must be nightmarish hearing the hello from the Ash and it being Carpe. If I was Dante there, I'd be rather scared. Big rotation from Philly though onto the point, pushing Outlaws into the attacking position yet again. They're going to be able to take this care of this small cove now. Dante's around about. He's actually on top of Carpe at this point, but yeah, instant use of the coach gun, the 1v1. Dante's taking it. No fear. EQO is down, mind you. Immortality field out as well for both sides, so no one falling just yet. It's going to be more of attrition. Now the window through for Boombox. They just zoom down Hydration. Just Sado was able to fire through that window just so rapidly that you're just not going to be able to hold anything from that. The shield's going to instantly get die, and even the E from the Sigma's not going to be able to do all too much. And Philly now have 1 minute and 2 pushes realistically to try and cap this 33%.
And they might need both because Houston is in a better position ultimate-wise. Alarm is leading Jexay, but not by a significant enough margin. And Meko continues to come in big when his team needs it. Like, if Dante's not getting it done, I think Meko's been the second best player for this team over the last couple of weeks, and he continues to find big kills when they need it. Philadelphia needed to get in here and at least brawl, even if they would have lost it, but equalizing it. Carpe gets repel.
Oh, it's not Dante this time around. It's going to be a healer.
You can go now. EQ will be back.
Yeah, not only that, actually, he just headshot Linkser. Linkser has to back off now, so they know they've got a lot of time to actually move. Linkser has Bob, mind you, but Carpe's nearing one of his own. One more Dynamite should do the trick.
It's a nice whip shot.
Whip off the high ground.
Dynamite first.
Fury opens up the fight with a Flux, but they're going to also get it fluxed up as well. Boombox is taken out in midair. This could be a draw if they're not careful. Jexay takes that alarm too. 20 seconds remaining for the Outlaws to defend at this point. Dante takes the 1v1 off the edge of the map as well. Someone might be able to get back in time. They're going to have to switch over to Wrecking Ball or even EQO on the Tracer to touch. OT is closing in. 5 seconds for EQO to get back to the point, but it's looking so difficult. The draw's coming in. Yeah, the ball's going to get holded off, and there we go. The draw. Outlaws not out of the series just yet. They managed to hold on the second point of Voskhaya Industries. Philadelphia Fusion, they're not tasting victory just yet.
It's not often you want to pull a highlight reel from a draw, though, but those were some disgusting ass shots from Carpe. But Houston's offenses just felt a lot better during that last defense for Houston, even on first points, when they had to get pushed around. And you say, like, Houston's in the offensive position now. I'm like, that's probably better for Houston. They were able to dominate that corner of the bunker so often. Meko taking off angles and putting in a ton of damage into that bunker. So the Philadelphia defense did not look good on first point. Houston out-rotated them. Now, the best they get from that is a draw, which I think means Houston continues to pick because they were the last to lose a map.
Yeah, that means they get their chance yet again. We're going to jump to a quick break. Guys, map number 4 on your screens very soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile.
With a draw on Volskaya, it means Houston Outlaws get their chance to pick once again, and we are going on to Junkertown this time around, and there's a substitution, but this time on the Philadelphia Fusion side. We're going to see one person step back, and it's going to be EQO, and we're going to see Hisu come in.
Well, if you're a team without a Genji, you pick Junkertown. Junkertown's just very difficult for a Genji to get as much value as the other maps because it's just so wide open that you're just running into sight lines constantly. Tracer can get value, Ashe can get value, Widowmaker can definitely get value, so it makes a lot of sense that Houston, a team without a top-tier Genji, to be honest, maybe Dante can get there, but we haven't seen it. He played a little bit on Hanamura defense, but it was mostly like a with my team until I played Genji. So yeah, they'll take Junkertown, which means Widow Tracer, Ashe Tracer, and that's why Philadelphia is going to bring in Hisu instead, their other hit scan specialist. So Hisu maybe an Ashe, maybe Widow, Carpe on Tracer, maybe they run a double sniper. It's very possible. We've seen the resurgence of that on Junkertown. Only time will tell, but Philadelphia is still one map away because it's a first to 3 here, and even though we're going to map 4 and it's 2-0, that's how it works.
Yeah, I do really like the double sniper on Junkertown just because, you know, obvious things like long sight lines, shield pressure as well from Hangzhou Storm Arrow, but the Ashe Tracer just seems way too good, especially if you play it like Carpe and Hisu seem to do with the Carpe Tracer and then Hisu on the Ashe. Dynamite over the shields, Carpe then finishes people off, and you just rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. It's what the Outlaws have been doing as well. Although Dante, more often than not, it feels like Dante's a little bit more solo play. Doesn't really want to follow up on the combos, which isn't too much of an issue. If you can find the picks like Dante has done over the last couple of days, it's very easy to play that style as well, but
well, I mean,
Hisu coming in, it's definitely double hit scan.
Yeah, some of the early Houston matches and matches they were close in kind of conditioned Dante to be a solo player. Like, he had to get 3 kills for every one that the other team did because it was the only way Houston was sitting in matches. Now, I do think Houston has vastly improved. I think the tank line and running the same supports and tanks instead of kind of messing with it as they've done throughout the years has done great for the Houston Outlaws, and this meta suits them very well. So yeah, this map pick makes perfect sense, but I think Dante has been conditioned to, like, if I don't play as #1 in this 12-man server, if I'm not the best, then our team doesn't have a chance. So it's kind of hard to break those habits, but I'm ready for the Carpe Linkser duel. I mean, Linkser has not been as good today as he was yesterday, but he also has moments where he can just really pull that off. Like, if I'm Hisu, I'm actually a little bit scared. So Hisu's actually going to play the Tracer, and Carpe is going to play the Widow.
Okay. See Linkser typing in chat. Let's have some fun duels. I agree. Carpe versus Linkser. That's going to be the 2 to watch out for. And click their head the faster. I'm curious where Carpe is actually going to be holding here. You can play obviously super aggro on either the right-hand side here from Linkser's perspective, or you can hold near the drum, the water drum on the side. Although it's a little less common to hold on a complete flank, as I say that. Carpe's right there. Linkser was looking for him too, but couldn't quite spot him.
Well, that's what I was
don't
gonna
get
say.
Oh my word, that was close.
It's a double-edged sword doing that grapple, especially when you don't know where the other Widow is. And he did it twice, didn't get punished the first time. Alarm will go down early, though, and so that means the front 4 or 5 of Houston should be able to start walking through with impunity, and Dante's behind him.
Well, Hisu's also behind, trying to kill off Linkser. It's a big kill onto Hisu, though. Yeah, a big Tracer versus Tracer battle. If your Widowmaker's in trouble, go help her out real fast. Dante does just that, earns himself a Pulse Bomb as well. Fusion unwilling to contest, but they are going to be able to hold close. Nice little stick. Oh, big onto Boombox. Didn't have Immortality Field, maybe? No, I die sure. A bit too quick to react, potentially. Oh, Carpe takes the 1v1. Dante doesn't have recall. He's so low. Mega Pack is available, though. He's got him. And Hisu's going to be able to check him down this small corridor.
Pack control and recall. They win your Tracer duels.
So, no main healer either. Oh, Carpe is so dead here. Oh, no, double armor pack. Maybe gets away. Grapple shots away, too. Dancer playing rather safe and cautious. He knows Carpe was looking at the angle, so he didn't really want to peek. Linkser takes out Carpe, though, in the craziness that's currently unfolding. And even Meko halted, sorry, not Meko, but Hydration halted the BAP into Meko. Carpe kills it with the Venom Mine. Linkser going for the cheeky jump shot on the high ground, but the armor's going to be more than sufficient to keep him alive. And the Outlaws doing a good job of just picking apart the Fusion defense here.
Well, that one kill might be enough to let them back in it, because really Carpe was never able to set up in a comfortable position because Dante was always after him. So Dante going down really hurts. Hydration gets lifted and he gets really hurt. He gets taken down. The Flux comes in late as well from the Houston Outlaws. And Philadelphia just needed a single fight to stabilize. Getting Dante means that Carpe can set up. They can put their tanks in the right position without being harassed. That is a dead Jexe as well. What? No, he just came in. He's just been on the bench. He's stretching his legs.
Yeah, he's warming up.
Warming up.
Warming up. See those shots onto Linkser too. When Tracer's behind you like that, sometimes it's worth being patient. Don't like instantly react and try and kill the Widow, especially if she can't see you. It's worth just kind of taking a breather, half a second to a second. That was a beautiful bash into a headshot. My word. You've got to help Carpe out, and that's exactly how you're going to do it, taking out Dante on the side.
Yeah, we'll see if he goes for the pine angle here, which I still remember, which is through the window, drop down, and just hit 3 shots like it's nothing.
Oh, Links are in a very strange angle, but nope. You see the armor pack go out. Didn't want to reveal himself. Yeah, so he's hoping that people kind of drop on him, or he can get a shot off onto Carpe. Yeah, they know where he is now. Surely, Links is playing so aggro. You can see, yeah, just about time. Hisu was able to spot him, forced him out of a position, and Carpe was there to hook, line, and sinker the shot.
Yeah, I think Houston had designs of really pushing that in, but then the amplification matrix came up, and you just can't push a new one amp matrix.
Hisu is just left completely alone in the back line, but it doesn't really matter all too much. Pulsemon on the back of the tanks. Meko was set so low, couldn't quite receive the healing in time. Carpe once again kills off Dante with a headshot. And Salo pushing in, just not scared in the slightest, knows he has that extra armor from the rally. That looks really good for the Outlaws for a second there, as Hydration was in a corner and was able to keep himself alive regardless of Meko going down, as the Supercharger was enabling them to push up, but it expired by the time they were able to do any meaningful damage.
Well, 2 minutes left on the clock for the Houston Outlaws, and they've been coming in here one by one and using ultimates without great effect, and Carpe still has that Carpe factor. You can't be pushing in right now without shields. You just can't be out in the open at all, like not even a pixel. And Linkser's dreaming if he thinks Carpe is taking that angle.
Yeah, Carpe's just in the back. Yeah, he has sights now, so. Oh yeah, there you go, Dante. We see you, friend. We know exactly your game plan at this point.
Houston is going to have to push and hopefully get the ultimates out of Philadelphia and build up their own, because right now they got nothing. Maybe Matrix allows them to get high ground, but they've given up so much ground that Philadelphia has the natural high ground now on this map again.
Carpe's on Tracer duty, look. Just watching for every single flank, not going for these pop shots in the front line. Flux onto 4. Made that 3 as Hydration went golden. Carpe again finds Dante on the flank. Like I said, he's not peppering the front line. He's not shooting shields. He's not trying to pick people off when they're getting fluxed. He's only looking for Dante. They know the threat and they're shutting it down.
Yeah, and if you're Dante right now, it's 2 a.m. and Carpe's in your head. Like, you don't have the confidence to even go after the Widow right now as Tracer.
We still hits to him and he finds another headshot. This is absurd. Oh, I'm surprised Carpe hasn't typed in the chat yet. This is top tier Carpe we are seeing right now. Not normally do you see this many headshots onto a Tracer. In fact, it's actually forced Dante to jump onto the Genji to maybe try and find a reflect kill. He's killing him this much. And now Carpe's like, you're not on Tracer, mate. You can't flank me. There's no way. Now I'm just going to go after Linkser. 25 seconds, by the way, Hex.
Yeah, and Philadelphia is going to have the Amp Matrix and the Supercharger, all the damage in the world. Outlaws, maybe you get to a rally during this fight. Start it off with a Flux, put your Amp Matrix down in a good spot, get to rally. Linkser's also going to have sights. This is exactly where you want the Matrix.
I would have loved Dante to actually touch the payload there to make sure it didn't do anything. Carpe instantly takes his head clean off. There was nothing he could do. He tried so hard to get the damage done. OT is here. It's in session. Outlaws have to touch the point, and now Hisu's on the back line taking care of Linkser. Linkser's popped the sights though, he knows where Hisu is, but that fades rather quickly. Carpe takes a headshot but doesn't quite go down, as Linkser, now scared for his life, is looking around to make sure he doesn't get flanked by Hisu yet again. Luckily, Meko managed to find the kill, and the Immortality field will be out there for the fusion to make sure they stay alive through the oncoming assault. Meko's receives the Immortality field as well, yet again. to make sure he stays alive against the enemy Flux this time around. Carpe is now up on the high ground. It's all up to him to try and salvage this fight. Dante is back on the Tracer to get back to the point in time. Carpe is on the high ground. Alarm kills 2. Dante and Repel are going to go down. It is 2v4. An Alarm and Carpe is still making it work. Lixer comes back on the Doomfist, but it's not enough. The Philadelphia Fusion will halt Outlaws just before the second point.
This is the kind of Widow performance that has people on forums and on the internet saying, why hasn't Widowmaker been nerfed so far? That's what Carpe is doing right now. Because this just looks unfair. He is hitting every single shot. Hisu did some really good pressure in the back lines, and like, it's one or the other, right? So you're pressuring, and then the Widow's able to capitalize on the shots, or the Widow can't hit headshots, and you're body shotting, but then your Tracer's there to clean it up. I mean, they made Dante switch off Tracer. Like, made him. As a Widow. Like...
So it's like, hey, what? So someone asks you, like, okay, so what's the counter to Widowmaker? How do you really kill her at the end of the day? If my Widowmaker's not great, how do I do it? Well, you know, you have to go on a flanker. You go on something like Tracer, Genji to get up in her face, and it's like, well, actually we can't do that because Carpe's actually just too good at the video game, and he just headshots me every time I come out of cover. And at that point, you're like, well, maybe we try a different tactic. And when he did switch over to the Genji, you saw him play with the team, like, entirely. There wasn't really a point where he was pushing out to take those duels yet again. He wanted to play with the team so they could use the window, he can fire shurikens through it, halt, etc., use the dash to get ult charge, but Carpe was expecting that and lined up a perfect shot to take him out when Dante was in the middle of his team. Like, it's just absurd. Carpe is playing on another level at this point, and Outlaws, this is their final stand right here. They need to... Okay, well, just interrupt me, Carpe. Why don't you? Please.
What do you even do? What do you even do?
Come. You don't do anything. That's the thing. They need... Look how far they need to make it, too. 78 meters-ish, like 77.5. Like, that's just before the second point. Such a tall order when Carpe is on this other level. And in fact, Fury and Sato too, mind you. Of course, we've been focusing on the DPS, but they're holding their ground against Hydration, and Meko have looked so dominant over the Mayhem tanks the other day. Finally
ends Carpe's reign of terror. Carpe right now, 13 final blows, 50% crit accuracy.
Okay. This is
Dante's turning it on.
He's turning it up. He killed Hisu as well, and now he's spawn camping the Widowmaker, or at least trying to. The rest of Fusion are going to regroup here. There's no way they push without the do DPS.
No, you wait. Yeah, that's the only place you're safe right now, Dante.
In that bush. He knows it too. Yeah, he's making sure that he can hear Carpe's movements. And yeah, he's seen Hisu go over, so waiting for Carpe to come out. Sees the armor back. Oh, did Hisu not see him? He's camouflaged. It's almost perfect. He's waiting for the armor to wear off. Didn't quite wear off in time. Carpe's made it back to the payload, as well as the rest of his team. Window on the side, but that's going to get met by Outlaws, actually using the Flux in a window of their own to force them all the way back into the Mega Health Pack room.
In the room.
Dante has the Pulse Bomb too. This is the famous Pulse Bomb we saw earlier on. Almost kills himself by accident, but managed to get the recall off just in time. And he was stunned, mind you, as well. He's taken the duel with Carpe yet again. Carpe hits a body shot, forcing Dante away. Hisu lands the Pulse.
Hisu. Beautiful. That should be Philadelphia first.
Oh, no doubt, yeah. I mean, with your Baptiste going down as well, there's absolutely no way you salvage this one, unfortunately. Looks like Dante's going to try to take the duel with Hisu again, but there's a brig at his side, so there's no way Alarm's going to actually let him die in this situation. There's the first point captured. 4 minutes on the clock, Hex.
Dante might as well be in New Zealand right now. So far away from his team.
Incredibly far away. Lixer has sights, mind you, so at least he can spot out where Carpe and Hisu are lying.
Yeah, they're just going to trade him, though. Like, the moment Lynxer pops him, so will Carpe. Maybe not.
I don't think
yeah. Sometimes, like, if you pop him second, you have the little bit of advantage, right? It's about squeaking out those tiny seconds of advantage.
It's a big Flux on the high ground. Right, it's going to mean a rally is going to be available rather soon. Oh, Dante, clean one clip. With the help of the Arista damage as well. Trapped in this, again, this Mega Health Pack spot against Dante, who's going to be able to control it rather easily. His armor packs, it just shows the power of Brig as well, being able to throw armor from afar. And Dante just being basically immortal. Hisu did throw in the pulse bomb and get stunned, but he did manage to get the recall off just in time. Dante doing a fantastic job of just staying alive too. Flux, Immortality Field didn't manage to hit them as they were all up in the skies, and the pulse bomb instantly killing off Fury. Doing a good job with the defense
Houston's
now,
a great spot.
that is a lot of ultimates to use though.
It is a lot, but Houston is in the good position to be on this like kind of neutral high ground right above the points. Oh, and he's got someone hit the mine.
Carpe's in the bag. Oh dear.
Oh
no! He knows. If Carpe hit that shot, I think I would have just lost it. Thrown my headset on the ground. Although it's not over just yet. Carpe at 4
like
HP.
4 trillion armor.
Oh, that was so close.
Look at Dante's health bar though. It's
255 HP. Yeah, there's no way you don't stay for this one. Yeah, Boombox is dead. Goodbye. As the rest of Fusion getting reset. Almost reminiscent actually of Houston's offense here. Nice little stick by Dante to finish off the Orisa. Half the time bank has now been burnt.
Just two Titans battle it out on different heroes. Sometimes you watch two people on the same hero and it's like the most tense match ever. This is 100% Carpe versus Dante. Who can carry harder? Is Hisu gonna... the cart's not even close enough. Oh, I thought he might be going for a back cap. He's just holding the back lines. A lot of sneaky stuff going on in Junkertown.
He found him yet again. Carpe spotted the flank, Dante down, and now Lynx is in trouble. He's getting chased around by Hisu. Both DPS from the Outlaws are dead. They're going to be able to reconvene on the point momentarily, but there's going to be so much space now granted to the Fusion, who are going to be able to push this payload with 3 people on it. 1 minute and 30 seconds remains to keep Outlaws in the series.
Yeah, it's just a matter of where Philadelphia wants to set up, and as a matter of fact, they're also going to have rally. Sights will be even. Flux will be even. Pulse Bomb advantage to Philadelphia. Maybe that one will change it, but other than that, these teams both with pretty much the exact same toolkit. So this one comes down to just simple personal execution.
Don't
Houston
C9.
Can't sit on high ground here, though.
Please
they have to
don't
go.
C9. Yeah, hydration instantly goes down. That's a good Flux to kind of bring them up as well to make sure there's a good angle for Linkster to shoot them with. Hisu has Pulse Bomb. He spots them out. This might even... No, you don't even need the Pulse Bomb in that situation. Linkster was half HP already. The rally comes through as well as that supercharger. That's a lot of damage, instantly killing off the Immortality Field as well. Hisu running amok in the back line. Someone is going to have to deal with him at some point. Dante also pretty low. Luckily enough, Repel and Jexer are keeping the back line alive and well for the Houston Outlaws, but the front line not so much. Dante and Meko end up falling. Jexer as well. This should just be it. The Fusion are going to claim the point and claim the series 3-0 and will face Toronto in the semi-finals.
What a hell of a match from our damaged players. I know, like, I'm sure that tanks and supports also had good games, but that's not where the story was. That's not where our camera was. My goodness, what a clinic Carpe put on. Dante, almost enough to answer back in the second half. I say there's a lot you can be happy about for this Houston Outlaws team. I've said time and time again, when it really matters, when it's match point, when it's set point, when there's one shot to save your team, there's no one else I would rather have than Carpe. Just seems so cool under pressure, captain consistent. And this Philadelphia Fusion team now is going to have to face off against a team that very much runs the Tracer Genji, Ashe Genji kind of things in the Toronto Defiant, but seem to be on a collision course with another one of the behemoths here. It's either going to be Paris or San Francisco. Yeah, I mean, you're really seeing the reason why the teams that people have rated pretty highly are the reason why. It's just you get individual performances like this, but Houston stepped up big in this meta. I think, getting into the playoffs and playing a good team pretty close, even though the 0-3 scoreline, they did draw, and these matches were pretty close in the end. So what a set, what a player. I mean, Carpe just... It's so much recency bias when you talk about these things, but does he just vault himself up to the MVP list?
I mean, well, okay, that's not okay.
You think about value, right?
We'll have to. I think we'll have to wait for that one, Hex. I don't know. That
okay.
feels like later in the season, maybe. Player of the match, though, presented by Xfinity, is going to be Carpe. No surprises here, as his performance on Widowmaker, especially on the Junkertown, was just on another level. Dante, the biggest asset to the Outlaws, especially over the last couple of days in the Summer Showdown, was just shut down time and time again on a hero you'd consider a counter to the Widowmaker. Kind of ridiculous how Carpe is just so consistent, like you said. I mean, like you called him even, captain consistent.
You know, well, he's consistently clutch as well, because it wasn't like the most amazing games from him in the first map or second map, although Blizzard World I think he played rather well, but that was mostly the EQO show early on. But then when they get to match point, when they get to Volskaya, he's hitting 180 headshots, and I think the map before he's hitting long distance hip shot no scope. Like, it's just nuts that when his team really needs the win and they want to get out of the set, because you don't want to let Houston hang around in a set. They've shown again they can take you to 5 and maybe beat you there. And then that Junkertown performance on the Widowmaker to completely shut down Dante. The win condition when you're facing the Houston Outlaws is if you can shut down Dante to any reasonable degree, you should be able to beat the Houston Outlaws. And Dante put up a hell of a fight there on the Tracer too, but what an epic battle. But it's got to be Carpe. I mean, I can't call him clutch enough. And sometimes he has off games and off maps, but not when it matters. Not when they really, really need a good performance out of him. And the entire Philadelphia Fusion squad rallied around him. They made some changes today, which I really liked. EQO came in and, you know, it refreshed my memory that EQO is still a really, really good Genji.
And I think everybody in the back of their minds, Hex, is hoping for that rematch in the finals with Shock and Philly. I mean, they want revenge. Like, they do. They really need it. They're going to have to get through the Toronto Defiant first, though, and well, even the Shock are going to have to get through Paris Eternal as well. I think the 4 teams that we do have in the semi-finals right now 100% deserve to be there. Paris has turned it up to another level. The Widowmaker and the level of Widowmaker play and just long-range hit scan in general, including the Ashe, is just absurd right now when you look at this. You've got Mr. Logics. We have Arns, we have, like, we just seen Carpe click heads, and we always have Exy as well on the Paris Eternal. Like, we're not short for good, solid Ashe play and good Widowmaker as well. It's going to be a heck of a semi-finals and an even greater finals too.
Yeah, I think Philadelphia really does want that rematch, and we saw the Boombox talk about it earlier too, of like you can just try to improve on it. Like if you're Philadelphia, you don't harp on it and like you don't dwell on it, but you just say to yourself, never again. Never again are we going to get embarrassed 3-0 by the Shock like that. That just can't happen again. I refuse to allow it. You go back to the grind, you do your homework, you do your scrims, and you try to just do better next time. So I think that's what people would anticipate is going to be the finals, although Paris and Defiant have been, you know, despite being the 8 and I believe 11 seed, have put up some good matches. I think the Defiant have a harder road to hoe than maybe Paris, because I think Paris just has a damage duo that can take over games really, really easily. But wow, what a spectacular weekend it's been thus far, and we still have a whole nother day. We got semis and finals. There's more 8-pack tonight. Like, what a great time to be into Overwatch right now. I can't say enough about it. I'm watching Junkertown and I can barely speak because I'm giggling and gasping and laughing at like everything that's happening. It's just been so fun to watch this tournament structure. And yeah, I don't care who goes to the finals. I'm watching Overwatch all day tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what just brings it alive, really, the tournament structure, being able to put teams on a knife's edge like the Houston Outlaws have been, and the runs people can make as well through the bracket, because I mentioned at the very start of this series, I believe, or the series before, about how many brackets have been shattered since yesterday, and I will have to double check on Twitter or ask Johnny. He seems to have the information, the lowdown, and I believe it's on the website as well, actually, saying that. But the amount of the brackets remaining, I want to say 0 at this point. I know as of today, at the start of today at least, there was 1 person left standing with perfect brackets. Like, that's how crazy the Summer Showdown has been.
Even if that one person's bracket got busted, let me give you some advice and go buy a lottery ticket right now, because I guarantee you that wasn't a skill-based bracket. You got real lucky on a lot of things right there. But hey, cash in. When the world's giving you karma, just cash in that karma. But yeah, it's been that kind of tournament. I like these kind of tournaments where it's not all chalk, where there's upsets, where you get great performances, you get redemption arcs, you get comeback stories as well.
Well, there's one player that I've been delighted to see back in the DPS slot playing the Genji, is EQO, and he has an interview now with Custer.
Thank you very much, Jaws. Yes, I'm here with EQO. Congratulations on the win, man. Houston have been really good lately. Were you expecting this kind of convincing win coming into the match?
Yeah, Houston are a very strong team. We scrimmed them recently, but obviously we did come into the match knowing we're gonna 3-0. We had a successful week of scrim, so we didn't worry about that too much.
Were you guys expecting to play Houston? Because a lot of people considered that an upset.
No, honestly, we were expecting and wanting to play either Mayhem or Atlanta. but I guess they're not good enough to play against us yet, so we'll have to wait till next time.
Yeah, face them next time and you beat them then. So
Yeah.
it was awesome to see you back in the lineup as the Genji. We don't get to see a whole lot of you on the Flex DPS because it's not really played much. How do you handle not getting that much match time these days?
I mean, as a player, obviously we have a big roster this season, so it's important for me, especially since I don't get full scrim time sometimes if we play either Ivy or Hisu. So I need to keep my mechanics in check, like off scrim, and do my best. And then when I get my chance, we invest as little time as possible, like integrating me into the team, and it's mostly like, you know, put me in and go. So that's our mindset going into it.
Yeah, and you played awesome today, man. A lot of people sort of, you know, seem to forget how talented you were and how much you had influence in the Season 1, so it was awesome to see. So, you take on Toronto Defiant. I assume you weren't expecting that. What do you think of them as a team?
I think they're kind of weak. Honestly, they've been kind of having a honeymoon phase with the Genji right now. Agilities is a very good Genji, so it obviously works for them, but I think Overwatch is a bit more complicated than just having a good Genji player, so I have no worries about going against them. Yeah,
absolutely. You guys look awesome. So, if we're moving on from Toronto, though, I expect to see you guys, if you win that match, play against the San Francisco Shock. Is this the match you guys want? Have that grudge match?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've never beat them actually, so we've been waiting for this for a long time, yeah.
Do you think this is a good meta for you guys? Because we haven't seen much Genji. Do you think that Genji is going to really, like you as Genji, is going to really push you over that line in the matchup?
I don't think any character is going to push us over the match. Like, it's all about how we prepare as a team. I'm sure Shock can decide to play a different comp and they'll do obviously just as fine. So we have the same mindset, whether it's Genji or Tracer, whatever we're going to play tomorrow. Just make sure that we're fully prepared and go into the match.
Hey man, you want it, I want it. I think everybody wants to see that rematch. So thank you very much for joining me, man, and congratulations on the win.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Alright guys, that's going to be it. We actually don't have a Watchpoint post-show today, but the APAC matches are starting at 1 AM PT, so tune in for those if you are. And then we have the Watchpoint pre-show for all of tomorrow's matches starting at 11:30 AM PT, so make sure to check it out then. See you then.